What a good job. What a beautiful introduction from Sam. Between Sam and Chuck and our staff, we have something really, really special going on. So here's what happened. I was not supposed to make it because the weather was really bad. And they said, Mr. Trump, I don't think you should fly today. I said, I'm not going to let Spencer down. We're not letting you down. So here we are. Here we are. It's been really an amazing period of time. What's happened? CNN, you saw, I guess, did everybody see the poll that came out yesterday? We are. And where's my Tana? She's some here, I'll tell you, from The Apprentice. She has been working 24 hours a day. She's been so amazing. So CNN came out with a poll. We are killing it, folks. I mean, we are just... But, you know, honestly, it's like Sam said before, though, we can't get complacent. Sit down, everybody. Come on. We're going to make this like a family chat. We'll make it like a little bit of a family chat. I don't know. I think, here's the story. You people have better seats, but they're going to become more famous, you see, because they have the camera. We have got problems in this country. We have got a hidden enemy. We've got an enemy that doesn't wear uniforms. We've got an enemy that's very vicious, very violent, very sick. And we've got to take him out. And we've got to take him out strongly. And we don't need people that are politicians that complain about my tone. Like Jeb Bush said, oh, his tone is a little bit tough. Tough. A little bit. You know, I think I have a great temperament. I built an incredible company. In fact, when I filed my papers, everyone said, oh, he won't file his papers because, you know, maybe he's not as rich as people think and all that. So I filed my papers. And actually before that, and I tell the story, I was in New York, and it looked like the Academy Awards down in Trump Tower. There were so many cameras, I've never seen anything like it. And you know, they all want us to do badly, okay? You know, because the press is unbelievably dishonest. Unbelievably. Most of it. There's some good ones. But most of it. Unbelievably. I could tell you, I think I'll write a book about them when this whole thing is finished. This will be a book. I don't know if anybody's going to be interested enough to read it, though. Who cares? But I will tell you, they are very dishonest. And I look down, I know, there they are. They never show the audience, by the way. And people are still pouring in. And I want to thank the fire marshal because they sort of, you know, they have people at the doors just in case there's a problem. But I said, look, it's all concrete and steel. It's not going to burn. And they were great, okay? But we have a lot of people outside that are still coming in, so I appreciate it. Now, we could always wait about a half an hour. Should we wait? I thought you were going to say that. So I've been watching and I've been speaking and I've been talking about trade and China and how China's ripping us. We're losing $450 billion a year in trade imbalance. Think of that number, $450 billion. Just think of it. People say, oh, he must mean 450 million. Most people don't even know the difference between a million and a billion. It's a lot of millions. $450 billion a year, trade imbalance, meaning they send to us that much more than we send to them. Not a good deal, okay? I have Carl Icahn, one of the great businessmen of our time. I have so many business people, they're all endorsing me. And we're going to have the toughest, the smartest, the sharpest, people that you will be so proud of. You may not like them personally. Who cares, right? Who cares? No, I tell the story about you know, Carolyn Kennedy. She's a lovely young woman. I like her because my daughter likes her, Ivanka. Do we all know Ivanka? Yes. She's coming here. She's going to be coming. In fact, in a couple of weeks, I'm bringing my sons. And by the way, members of the NRA, they're really great marksmen. I mean, they're great shots. They've been members for a long time and big Second Amendment people. And I am the biggest of all Second Amendment people, I can tell you. You know, I met a wonderful couple. They own a gun shop. Where's that couple? They were great. Where are they? Oh, there they are. Stand up. Just stand up. I I said, don't worry, folks. If I get in, you're going to do just fine. Thank you. It's sort of interesting, though. We all know the problems, and we see. But take Paris. If a few people had guns on their belt, on their shin, in their jacket, instead of being slaughtered, you might have lost some. You definitely would have lost the bad guys. But it wouldn't have been hundreds of people, with many more expected to die. They're in the hospital dying now. And then you go to the tragedy that we just had in California. Nobody has a gun except the bad guys, the scum. They're scum. And nobody has a gun. Nobody can protect themselves. They got lucky that they left. They left because they didn't want to die. It's a whole big hoax. They want to die. They don't want to die. They talk about they want to die. They don't want to die. They're chicken shit, believe me. They don't want to die. No, they don't want to die. So they left early because they didn't want to get caught. They got caught. And by the way, how good did the police do, right? Did they do great? And in Paris, they did great. I mean, they did a great job. They knocked them out. Not easy. Dangerous as hell. And then you have all of these people protesting against the police. And you're going to always have a problem. The big deal is that the problems always seem to get on television and it makes everybody look bad. It's such a small, tiny percentage. But the police in our country, overall, they do such an unbelievable job. I've gotten to know them, and they do such an unbelievable job. I mean, like in California, look how quickly they reacted. And the school from a few months ago, a gun-free zone. You know what a gun-free zone means? That means that's like the meat. That's like the meat for these killers. Look how fast the police got there. They didn't get enough credit. They got there within minutes, and they knocked them off. And it was still a tragedy. I mean, so many people. But look at the military. How about the military base? First of all, one of the first things I'll be doing is ending all of that gun-free nonsense on military bases. Can you believe this? So we lost 6 guys to one guy that was a nothing, a zero. But 2 of our guys that we lost were world-class soldiers, highly decorated. And the other ones were great soldiers. But 2 of them, I think one was one of the great marksmen. He's not allowed to carry a gun on a military base. So this guy walks in, shoots him, kills him. They were, great people. They couldn't have a gun. I will end that my first day in office. My first day. Oh, we're going to end a lot. We're going to end sanctuary cities really fast. I can tell you that. Sanctuary cities. The nice part is you don't have to worry too much about sanctuary cities in Spencer, but it is, you ever see anything? It's almost like a free zone. You kill people and you're fine because you're in a sanctuary. It is so insane what's happening to our country. So when I announced, and it took courage to announce, I'm a business guy. And all of my life, I've heard that if you're a very successful person, you can't run for political office and certainly not for president. And I understand it. And a lot of it's because of the people back there, but I understand it. But I said, I don't care. And I made the decision. The head of Comcast, a great guy, Steve Burke, came to my office a couple of weeks before I announced. And he said, Donald, we want to renew The Apprentice. Now, people would say, oh, that's a lot of money. Even if you're rich, it's a lot of money. It at least pays for my airplane fuel. That's a lot of money. But he said, we want to renew you for a long time. And I said, I can't do it because I'm going to run, I think. Because I wasn't sure until I got on that escalator. Remember the famous escalator? Hopefully that picture on the escalator goes down in history as being a really important day for this country in a very positive way. Right? Hopefully. But I said to my wife, Melania, I said, well, look at that. And you look down at that garden level of the Trump Tower in New York, and I said, boy, that is a lot of press. You couldn't even get the press. It was so much. Honestly, it looked like the Academy Awards. So she came down in her white outfit waving, and I came down. I just took a deep breath. I said, all right, let's do it. Come on. We got to straighten out the country. It's so bad what's happened. It's so incompetent. We're run by stupid people. They're stupid people. They're stupid people. Whether it's Sergeant Bergdahl, where we get a dirty, rotten traitor. 6 people were killed looking for him. And now he's not even going to get a sentence, it looks like. Can you believe it? 25 years ago, he's shot. 50 years ago, they don't even wait a week. 70 years ago, they do it the first hour, right? He knows. Today, they announced probably he'll be receiving no punishment. Can you believe it? 6 young, great people, soldiers, killed looking for him. He deserted. So here's our deals. And these are the same deals we make with Iran, the same deals we make economically with China, Japan, Mexico. We get Bergdahl, a dirty, rotten traitor who's no good, and they get 5 of the biggest, worst killers that they have in that part of the world. And those guys are all back now on the battlefield trying to kill everybody and us. And that's what we get. And that's the way we negotiate. And we knew. I said, well, they must have made a mistake. They probably didn't know he was a deserter. I mean, he's a dirty, rotten traitor. And they knew because they had a general and a colonel interviewing his people that he worked with, that he was with. And they said, no, he deserted. So they knew before we met, and they made the deal anyway. I don't know what's with these people. I don't want them. Maybe we can send him back. Let's fly him over. We'll dump him right in the middle, throw him out of the plane. Should we give him a parachute or not? I say no. No, don't give him a parachute. I don't want. Why would we want to waste a parachute? See, we don't run our country actually with love. We're not treating our country right. We're not treating the people of our country right. When you do things like that, you're running it not with love, you're running it with stupidity, but you're running it with almost, there's a certain hatred that you're just doing the wrong thing. And the way we negotiate is, I use Bergdahl as an example sometimes, because while it's not an economic thing, although it actually is to a certain extent, that's the deals we make. We don't know how to make deals. I was going to tell you Carolyn Kennedy, she's in charge of Japan. She's the ambassador to Japan. She's a wonderful young lady. I mean, my daughter thinks she's very nice, so I like her. That's all I know about her. When Ivanka says somebody's nice, that doesn't mean I'm picking her to negotiate on cars by the millions. But I don't know if you saw 60 Minutes. So I was on 60 Minutes recently, and Putin was on the same night. We got along very well. We never met each other. He was in Russia, I was in New York. Well, we got along, and they got great ratings that night too, I'll tell you. We can do fine with Putin. But with Kennedy, they had her in 60 Minutes because she's the ambassador to Japan. And I think I'm telling the story pretty much like I remember it. She walked in, she went into the White House. She said, I'd like a job. I'd like to help, which is very nice. And they said, oh, what would you like to do? She said, I don't know. They said, how would you like to be the ambassador to Japan? She goes, really? She couldn't believe it. What a job. Wouldn't you like to get, I might even take that job. That's pretty good. Look at that lady. I love you the way you hold that book up. Stand up, darling. Look at you. That's love. I know she's voting for Trump. Look at us two. No. I love her. The people are so amazing. I just see the way she's holding that book. Thank you, darling. Appreciate it. Wouldn't it be terrible if she said, no, I'm actually voting for, let's see, who do I elect? I don't want to use any name because they're so far behind. I don't want to give anybody the boost. I appreciate it. Thank you, sweetie. So with Japan, so she ends up getting it. The ambassador to Japan is a big factor in what happens to us and Japan. Japan is run by Abe, one of their strongest leaders that they've had in many years. He's devaluing the hell out of their currency, just clobbering us. They're sending cars by the millions. I mean, you go out to Los Angeles. I was there a few months ago, and I saw boats. The biggest ships I've ever seen. Cars are pouring off these ships into us. You know, we send them practically nothing. We give them a little beef, but they send it back. And by the time it gets there, you don't want to touch that beef. I think they call it Kobe beef then, don't they? And they sell it for much more. See what they do? They call it Kobe beef after a while, because it sits for about 7 months because they can't get it in. And then they charge you about 10 times more for it. So it's pretty good. But we send them very little. They send us the cars. And we have so much leverage. If we had people, if we had business people, and they rip us. And in this 16-minute piece, I saw Abby, they're whining and dining her. They're giving her dinners, state dinners. They have a table. She's not going to negotiate with these people. We want our great negotiator. I know them. I know the good ones. I know the bad ones. I know the ones that are overrated. I know ones you haven't heard of who are better than all of them. We have great people. We have the greatest business people in the world. And they want to do it. I've had so many calls from people that are very rich, very successful, some well-known, some not. They all want to be involved. And they don't want jobs. They don't want money. They're worth, hundreds of millions and billions of dollars in some cases. But they all want to help because they see what I'm doing. Corporate inversion. That's where companies are now leaving. This is the new thing. Because our tax laws are so bad, now they're going to do something about it because I've been making a big deal. But the politicians I'm running against, they never even heard of corporate. They don't even know what it is. That's where companies are moving out of the United States. In the old days, they'd move from New York to Florida because the taxes were lower or other reasons. Now they move from the United States to another country. Asia, Europe. They go, Pfizer, as you probably, Pfizer's a hell of a company. That's a big company. Pfizer is moving. They want to move to Ireland. Now, I like that because I own a lot of property in Ireland. Hopefully, they'll be fairly near. My property value will go up, right? But I bought a lot. When Ireland crashed 3-4 years ago, I bought some of the best. That's what I do. I do it really good. I was going to tell you that when I filed my report, everybody said, wow, that's amazing. Because when I came down the escalator, just to finish that story, so I come down the escalator, then they said, oh, well, he'll never announce. I announced, okay. Now they say, well, he'll never file Form A. Form A is only one single page where you basically sign your life away. I filed. They said, whoa. Oh, well, he'll never file his financials because he's probably not worth as much as people think. So I filed my financials. And by the way, I filed them. They thought I'd ask for extensions. You're allowed to have many extensions. You could take them forever. I didn't ask for one. In fact, I filed them early. I didn't ask for one extension. And they turned out, yeah, it's pretty good. It was almost 100 pages long. Some of these politicians asked for extensions, and it was a one-page document that, they have nothing. And I'm not saying it's not wrong to have nothing, but I built a great company, tremendous cash flow. Everybody is shocked. I have some of the greatest assets in the world. Unbelievable values, almost no debt, very little debt, very little. And I'm not saying that in a braggadocious way because I don't care about that. It's the kind of thinking we need in our country now. We have to have it. It's the kind of thinking we need. It's what we need. We don't have a choice. We owe $19 trillion. We just made last week a horrible budget deal. I guess you saw. And I always, I joke, but it's really not a joke. All these people, we know where the Democrats are coming from. Hillary Clinton is a disaster, by the way. She'll be a disaster. No, she'll be a disaster. Look, and I've been saying it, she doesn't have the strength or the stamina to be president. You need somebody with tremendous strength, tremendous stamina. Do you ever notice, thank you, Doug. Do you ever notice, I think she said you've got it. I think that's what she said. You better believe it. You got it too. Look, stand up. Look how nice you are. That's very nice. Thank you, darling. I do have it. But you ever notice she'll do an event and then you don't see her for like a week. You know what happens? She goes home and goes to sleep. It's true. Then she'll do another event. You don't see her. Then she'll ask questions. After like 3 days of negotiating with these guys, she'll ask questions, but it's all scripted. Everything's scripted. It's not what we want. It's not what we want. We want strong, quick. We need brutal. We need somebody that can take on China, I'm talking now trade. But even militarily. So China in the South China Sea is building a massive military base and airfields. Not supposed to be doing it, right? They're not supposed to, but they have no fear of this country. But we have tremendous power over China economically. But Obama doesn't know that. He has no idea. If we stopped allowing China to do business with us, there wouldn't be a China. It would be a revolution over there. They have sucked the money out of our country, and out of Iowa, by the way, out of Iowa. But they've sucked the money out of it. I say it's probably the single greatest theft in the history of the world, what China's done to us. And you know what? I like China. It's nice. The people are great. They buy my apartments. I rent the bank. The biggest bank in the world is from China. They're a tenant of mine. They just renewed their lease. I can't believe they renewed their lease. Can you believe? I talk about that. Can you believe? My guys come in. Mr. Trump, would you sign this? Why? I won't say what bank. They got enough problems with this. But certain bank. Just check it out. Largest in the world. Like by a factor of a lot. They said they're renewing their lease. I said, there's no way. After what I say, they're renewing. Because you know what? They respect. In Business Week magazine, they had an article. The 10 things that Chinese people most want. One of the 10 things was anything Trump. Can you believe that? Can you believe it? But that's because they're smart. They know. They know. I have a lot of friends from China, and they can't believe they get away with what they're getting away with. They can't believe it. They say, Donald, I don't believe we can get away with this stuff. They just did the biggest devaluation of their currency that has been done in 2 decades, in 20 years. We thought they weren't going to do any more devaluations. But they see we're all screwed up. We have a president that's a rank amateur, doesn't know what he's doing. And he's got so many other problems that they can do these things and nobody's going to do anything about it. They're doing things that they never thought they could do against us. And they're taking our jobs, they're taking our base, they're taking our money, they're taking our businesses. Look what they did with Boeing. Boeing got an order to build planes. They got to build massive factories now, plants in China. And China wants to take all of their intellectual property and, oh, it's unbelievable. And we allow it to happen. But the reason they were able to get away with the devaluation, that's already been now 3 months. And nobody even talks about it. And every time they do that, every single time they do that, your businesses get killed. Your businesses get killed. I'll tell you Japan, a great story. And I've told this, some of you have probably heard it, but a friend of mine's an excavator. He's a great excavator. He buys a lot of equipment. He's an excavator. That's what he does. And he digs holes. I like my business more, but that's okay. He loves his business. But he's always bought Caterpillar tractors, always. And by the way, speaking of tractors, so you know I'm a very large customer of John Deere right here. I give them millions and millions and millions of dollars. You would be shocked and probably disappointed in me if you found out how much money I pay to John Deere. But it's a great company. But my friend always bought Caterpillar tractors, always, a long time. And he's got a great company, you know, a good company. I wouldn't want it, to be honest, but for him it's good. And he buys Caterpillar tractors, and fine. So I see him one day, and he doesn't look so happy. And he felt guilty. He said, I feel guilty. Why? I just bought a tremendous order of Komatsu excavators. I said, whoa, why? You've always bought Caterpillar. He said, yeah. But Japan had devalued the yen to such an extent, it was so massive, that Caterpillar could not compete. I said, which is the better product? They're both good. Honestly, Komatsu is a good product. I know Komatsu. Caterpillar's a little bit better. But he got such an unbelievable deal, and he felt badly about it. He said, but I owed it to my wife. I owed it to my family. I owed it to my employees. I have to do what's right. And I said, there we go. And take a look at what's happening with Caterpillar. Take a look. I mean, just look. They're having a hard time because countries are devaluing their currency. China has played it better than anybody in the history of the world. And think of it. We owe right now China $1.5 trillion. Okay, think of it. We owe them money. They rob us blind and we owe them money. That's like a magic act. We owe Japan the same thing, $1.5 trillion. They sell their cars, keep selling. And what people don't understand, we have all the strength. If we say, look, you're not treating us right. We can't have these imbalances. It's got to be fair. We don't have to make, but it's got to be fair. We can't lose. In Japan's case, it's $75 billion a year. I mean, we're talking serious money and serious numbers of jobs. And you have the right messenger. You have the right person talking. I will tell you, you will do that so easily. So I just wanted to say that all of this has been my speech for the last 5 months. And it's done well. I mean, it's taken me to the top of the polls. I think even the folks there will mention, I think for 5 months, whatever the time is, I've been at the top of the polls. I mean, they're saying, when is he going away? I love these people. They wish. These are people, they just wish, oh, please. I mean, they probably don't pray. That's maybe their problem. But if they did, they'd say, please take him away. But what happens is, I watched a couple of them 3 months ago. So I start off with, nothing. I'm not running. And my wife said to me, she's very smart. She said, if you run, you know you'll win. Because she's with me a lot. And I do get a good response. I employ a lot of people. People like me. I built a great company. People like me. I like people. And I do a good job. And she sees, thank you. I like you too. What's your name? Look at that guy. Oh, I'm not going to mess with it. Stand up. What's your name? I like you. You're going to vote for Trump, right? I love you. I love this guy. I know my people. Wouldn't that be, it's always risky doing that, because if he said, no, I'm voting for some stiff that I'm running against, it's always risky. That could happen. But she said, you're going to run, and if you run, you're going to win. If you don't run, you'll never get any poll numbers, because nobody believes you're going to run, even if they put you in a poll. So they put me in these polls. Donald Trump is running, and I didn't do so well. I do like a lot of these guys that do it, like 2%, 3%, like a lot of the guys. Shouldn't they drop out? What are they doing? I said, I'm a little bit nervous because I'm only getting 2% and 3%. I'm not getting much. When they put me in, most of them didn't put me in because they said he's not running. But then they put me into a poll, and I get like 2-3%. I said, man, that's not very good. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't want to run. And then I get 2-3%, I feel like a jerk, right? I feel like, she said, no. If you run, you will win. You will go right up. Because nobody believes you're running. It's true. She said, she's better than these pollsters. They pay these pollsters a fortune, right? They pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Bush, Hillary, Marco Rubio. They pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they're very smart people. They're tough and mean. And they shout at their candidate, you said the wrong thing. You said this. Because they're making all this money. They want to show how tough. So in the meantime, they're afraid to say anything. But they pay them all of this money. So she said to me, so I don't have that. But I have people that I trust. But my wife is really good. She said, no, it doesn't mean anything. I'm surprised you got anything. Nobody thinks you're running. Even though they say if Donald Trump runs, nobody thinks you're running. They're not going to waste their vote. She said, you actually have to run. So I said, all right, you know what? Let's give it a shot. And then I told you the story. I take a deep breath at the top of that escalator. Because I didn't know if I wanted to do it like 1 minute before I went down the escalator. I looked down into that beautiful garden and I said, man, that's a lot. That's big stuff. So I took a deep breath. And she went down waving, and I went down waving not as elegantly. And I went out and I started talking about illegal immigration and things that nobody ever talks about. And I went right to the top of the poll almost immediately, so she was right. She was right. She was right. And honestly, it's been a fantastic experience. I'm totally against Common Core. I'm going to end Obamacare, and we're going to repeal it. I mean, think about Common Core. how stupid is it? You have the greatest parents in the world right here in Iowa. They love their kids. They want to be involved with their kids and with their schools or with their principals. And we're running your schools from Washington, D.C. by bureaucrats. How stupid. So, and we have a number of these candidates, like Bush likes it. I didn't want to mention Bush because he's gone. He's gone. You know, somebody said, why did you hit Bush so hard? Because, oh, look at this guy. Look at this. Look, it's because when I started, you know, Bush was expected to win. And then it was Walker was expected to win. And then it was another one that was, and you know, I just went through them like bong, bong. I talk about him and then it was then it was, in all fairness, Ben Carson. I was a little rough on him, but I told the truth, right? You know, with the belt, with the hammer and the mother, and I said, with the pathological, I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm just saying what he said. I said what he said. And he's a nice guy, too, and I like him. But I went through, and I just tell the stories. And by the way, I have plenty of ammunition left for the ones that haven't quit yet. We have a lot. No. Actually, a couple of them, they just wrote a story about that everybody that's come against me has gone down like a rock. That should happen for our country, right? That should happen. But if you think about it, I mean, it's sort of fun. I love you people. It's sort of fun because we're all the same. It's like, it starts off with Perry. I thought he was a nice guy, governor of Texas, right? And all of a sudden, and he was very nice, Mr. Trump, and, you know, about 2-3 weeks, he's not registering, but he's at about 5 or 6 or 7%. And all of a sudden, I have this vicious attack at me, and that I shouldn't be allowed to get onto the stage with these governors and senators. I shouldn't be allowed. I say, first of all, many of them weren't good governors. And some of them, like in all fairness, Rubio doesn't even vote. If I were in Florida, and if I put my faith in a young guy where the ink isn't even dry on his election, now he wants to run for president, and if he didn't vote, I tell you what, I'm going to have such an easy time beating him in Florida. And to be honest, look, Bush is doing badly in Florida, and so is Rubio. And I'm winning by so much, and people were like surprised. But if I were a person in Florida, I mean, I'll tell you already, there are other things I can say, but if I send a young guy up to Washington to represent me, and he virtually never goes, he's got the worst voting record in the United States Senate. And last week, they had a major meeting on Homeland Security. How important is Homeland Security? And he didn't want to go. He went to a fundraiser instead in Los Angeles, so he didn't go. I think I should win Florida pretty easily, to be honest with you. And he's not going to be able to do it. He's not going to be. That's not the guy. So with all of this, and I see what happens, and I ran, and I've been number one from the beginning, and it's been an amazing experience for me. I got a call from one of the great writers of the world. He's, you know, not of my persuasion, meaning he's a very liberal guy, but he's a highly respected person. I won't use his name because I don't know if I can. And he called me because he wanted to ask me a question fairly recently. He said, Mr. Trump, and I have a lot of respect for this guy, actually. Mr. Trump, how does it feel? I said, how does what feel? What you've done. Because in the history of politics, nobody has ever done what you've done. You're an outsider. You're a business guy. Business guys weren't supposed to be able to do this. You've been leading the polls. It was the summer of Trump. This was 2 months ago. It was the summer of Trump. I said, well, now we'll see if it's going to be the autumn of Trump. He said, but how does it feel? I said, doesn't feel anything. I don't feel anything. Because unless I win, it's just a waste of time. He said, no, no, no. Even if you don't win, what you've done is an incredible thing. They're talking about it all over the world. And I said, no, I disagree. And I said, I disagree with you. Respectfully, I disagree. If I don't win, I've wasted my time. I really mean that, because I won't be able to do anything. Because we can do things. Does somebody agree with me here? Not a lot of people think whatever. Honestly, you know, look, Romney lost. Okay, Romney lost. He let us down. He should have won. That was an election that should have won. And for the last month, I don't know what happened to him. He disappeared. I called. I said, why aren't you going on Jay Leno? Why aren't you going on? Because say what you want about Obama. Obama was on those shows, you couldn't watch him anymore. So many shows. And Romney was putting in applications to build a 9-car garage in Malibu, California, or wherever it was. Not good the week before the election. People don't want to hear you building a 9-car garage. But I said, well, I called his people too. I said, why aren't you getting them out there? That was an election that should have been won. Now remember this, he didn't inspire. Nobody gets crowds like I'm getting. We're getting crowds. Last night we had 10,000 people. It was in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. The other day in Sarasota, Florida, we had 12,000 people on a very hot day, right in the middle of a beautiful, incredible people. They're all incredible. The people I meet are so incredible. That's what gives me faith in our country. It's what gives me faith in our country. They're so incredible. We had 35,000 people in Mobile, Alabama. Amazing. They were going to use a hotel. I figured 500 people. You know, we did it early on. Well, in about 7 minutes, the management, we can't handle this. We went to the convention center. That holds 10,000. They said after about 2 hours, we can't handle it. And we ended up going to a football stadium with 35,000 people. We had at Mark Cuban's arena, the Dallas Mavericks, Mark called. He said, you want to use the arena? And I said, yeah, what day is it? Thursday. When are you talking about? He said, Monday. I said, Monday? How big is it? It's like 20,000 seats. We filled it up in a day and a half. There's something, we have by far the biggest crowds. And the beautiful thing that I see is it's love. I'm telling you, it's like a love fest. And the people are, you know, people would say, well, what's the difference between like Iowa and Dallas? And I'll tell you, I guess there's differences. But the one thing, the enthusiasm that everybody has to make America great again is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And, you know, I tell this story. A friend of mine is a very successful guy, because sometimes I'll be speaking to, 25, 35,000 people. We went to Oklahoma. We had 20,000 people in a field, in a park. It was incredible. But I'll speak to friends, and they'll say, how do you speak? Because, I don't read the speech, right? No teleprompter, right? No teleprompter. I don't know. But, you speak without a speech. You're not reading your speech. You're not using a teleprompter, which I'd love to do. It's so easy. But it doesn't come from the heart. And then you can't talk about what happened in California 2 hours ago, or what happened here or there, because, you got to get your speechwriter right. You got to get your consultants to check everything is perfect. But, it's not the same. You wouldn't have too many people. It's boring, okay? This is the way we have to do it, and this is the right way to do it. But there aren't a lot of people that are going to speak for an hour and a half without notes. Do we agree? I mean, but we know what we're doing, and we know what we're talking about, and we know how to do it, and we know how to do the job. But a friend calls me, he said, how do you speak? I had 22,000 people, and he was with me, one of the very successful people. He said, where are your notes? Where's your speech? There's no teleprompter, and we're in a stadium. I said, Ed, you're speaking from your heart. Now I know the subject. I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I know the subject. But I said, it's really easy. And it was a great evening, standing ovations all over the place. It was an amazing evening. He said, I've never seen anything like that. He said, how do you do that? I said, it's easy, because there's such love in all of these places that I go to. There's like love. It's like we're all in the same team. And, we're all in the same team. And sometimes I see like a liberal guy or somebody will stand up from Black Lives Matter, which is fine, and they'll stand, or somebody will stand up for something else. And I say, I'll bet you if I spoke to them, I could convince, unless there are some people that are bad people, okay? We know that. And you have that, and you have that anyway. But you have a lot of good people that don't agree with us. But I'll bet you that in many cases, if I spoke to them, I'd say, look, we're all in the same thing. We have a country that's a debtor nation. We have people that are dying in the military. Our vets are being treated horribly. Who wants that? Nobody wants that. We're going to take such care of our vets. We're going to make our military bigger, better, stronger than ever before. We're never going to have to use it. We're never going to have to use it. It's a little like our gun shop. I mean, we're going to make our military so powerful that we're not going to have to use it. People are taunting us right now because they know we have generals that don't know what they're doing. We have generals that are on television. I don't want my general on television. We have Obama says, I'm sending 50 men to Iraq. Why? Why does he say that? They're going to Iraq, probably going to Syria. Why would he say that? Why does he say that? Why does he have to get up and say, these people have a target on their back? They're being hunted, they're being looked for. If he didn't say it, they wouldn't know. These are our special people. And they're going, why does he say it? You know, we're led by stupidity. I'll tell you something. No, it's a stupid group of people. I used to say incompetent because it's a nicer word. Do you believe it? I'm now reduced. I went to the great Wharton School of Finance, and I'm reduced to saying we're led by stupid people because there's no better word. There's no better word. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. But I see that, and so we have a president that announces that we're sending 50 people over there. Those people are in such trouble. I mean, you'll be reading about it. We have a president. We shouldn't have been to Iraq. I said a long time, and I should get points for this because I'm the most militaristic person in this room. I am. I mean, I believe I am all in. But I don't want to have wars. I don't want to have wars. When Hillary and Jeb on the same day said they don't like my tone. They don't like my tone. My tone is a strong tone. And that's what we need. We have people with their heads being chopped off all over the world in the middle. And their heads are being chopped off if they're Christians. I'm a Christian. I'm Presbyterian. Nobody knows that, but that's okay. I told Chuck and Sam, you should give, especially for this group, give them my confirmation picture. You won't believe it. I was actually very good looking, you know. So I was like, but I'm a Christian. They're cutting off Christians' heads. And that's like medieval times. And he talks about tone. You better believe it. I do. So, thank you. But, so we're at a crossroads. This country has a great chance to be more amazing than ever before. I really believe that. We're going to get rid of the regulations that are driving the farmers out of business. We're going to get rid of the estate taxes that are making a lot of the farmers sell their farms. I understand that. No, I understand it. I understand that. You know, you have farmers out there, they're wealthy, but they're a little bit cash short. And all of a sudden, their farm is worth a lot of money, but the only way they're going to pay their taxes is by selling their farm. And they don't want to sell their farm. And we have it too. And, you know, real estate's sort of that kind of a business. You have assets. But in many cases, if you haven't stopped or whatever, you might not have the cash necessary. People are forced, and many businesses are like that. Where they're good businesses, you employ a lot of people, and then you end up selling the farm to somebody that's never going to take care of it, doesn't love it, going to reduce the payrolls, going to get rid of a lot of the people that have worked for you for years, and then you have to justify why cut the estate tax. We're going to get rid of the estate tax. It's a very bad thing, and it is killing people in Iowa. I know that for a fact. We also, as you know, I came out with a tax plan, you know, because the press wants it. They always want it. But we're going to cut taxes way down, especially for the middle class and for businesses. Way down. We're right now the highest taxed nation in the world. We are going to be one of the lowest taxed nations in the world. And the middle class is a big recipient, and so is business. And we're going to do things that are going to keep our companies from leaving this land. We're going to keep our companies here, and we're going to let them bring the $2.5 trillion. You know, they have $2.5 trillion at a minimum overseas. They can't bring their money back. They can't bring their money back. And you know, the Republicans and the Democrats both agree they should be able to. For 3 years, they can't make a deal. I think they're going to make a deal. I read something this morning. That's because I have been breaking them down on this. Everybody agrees. Who agrees? I mean, who wouldn't say bring your money back? They can't bring their money back because of the complexity of the taxes being too high, and bureaucracy. And I have been talking about this, and now you have companies leaving. I think, and the amazing thing, I use it, it's one of the few cases, Republicans and Democrats both agree that we should do it. And for 3 years they've agreed they can't do it. They can't get together, they can't do it. Because there's total gridlock in Washington, and we have no leader in Washington. That's the only reason. So for the first 5.5 months, I've talked more or less about this stuff, about China, about Japan, about Vietnam, another place ripping us bigly, about many other places. Everybody's ripping us, just so you understand, to finish it. I don't know of any nation that's not. If they're not, they got something wrong, because we're meant to be ripped by the way we do business. Mexico is killing us. Mexico's killing us at the border, and they're killing us on trade. Nabisco is moving a big plant from Chicago into Mexico. Big, big plant. Ford is building a $2.5 billion plant. Think of it, 2.5, one-story plant, 2.5 billion. You guys know what that is. You know how big that is? That means they're going to close a lot of plants up in Michigan and various places. And I won't let it happen. And then they're going to make cars, trucks, and parts, sell them into the United States, no tax. How does that help us, folks? It doesn't. I'm a free trader. But where does that help us when we allow that to happen? So we're not going to let it happen. What I have been doing, for the last, and I've been talking about the economic things. Then we had Paris. It's almost 2 weeks now. So we had Paris. And all of a sudden, I start talking a little bit differently. And I must tell you, I feel so strongly, if they had the guns, it wouldn't have been like that. But the cops, the police, all over, what a job. I've talked about this now all the time. Now, one of the reasons I shot up to the top, they say, what do I know? I just speak from the heart. One of the reasons I shot up to the top is because of my stance on border. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be a real wall. It's going to be a great wall. We're going to build that wall. It's going to be a great wall. And people aren't going to come through that wall unless they come in legally. And if they come in legally, I love it. Come in. And we'll take as much as we can. But they're not going to come in unless they come in legally. And that's for sure. And there's going to be a real wall. You know, they've wanted to build a wall. A lot of people don't realize this, but they've wanted to build a wall for years. How about this? Environmental impact statements, they couldn't pass the environmental test to build a wall. Can you believe this? There was probably a snail or a turtle or a frog. No, I mean, it's out of control. I said the other day, jokingly, to a friend in China, he's come in, he bought a big apartment, and I said, so tell me what you're doing in the South China. He said, oh yes, we are doing that. They got like 1,000 excavators, they're massive. I jokingly said to him, how long did it take for you to get your environmental impact statement? He looked, what? What are you talking about? They started work the next day. Let's do it here, boom. We are so behind the times. When I said bomb the oil, and I've been saying it for years, right? I actually said bomb the oil, keep the oil, take some of the oil, give it to the families of the soldiers that were killed in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria. Give it to the soldiers. And give it to the vets that are living not as well. Think of it. We have illegal immigrants that are treated better than our great vets. We have illegal immigrants treated better than our vets. I see some of the vets here. We have illegal immigrants. They're going for driving permits. They're going for, I mean, it's unbelievable. There's one town in California where they want to run for the city council. They want to take over, they're illegal immigrants. They want to take over the town council. And they're debating whether or not they should let them do it. Where are we coming from, folks? Where are we coming from? So I've always said, take the oil, because that is ISIS's source of wealth. They've got another source of wealth that a lot of people, politicians, aren't smart enough to understand this. They have a source of wealth from banks, very intricate banking channels. A lot of money coming in that way. Well, am I so good at that? Oh, will I do numbers on those banks? I know so much about the banks. I mean, who's done better than me with banks? I mean, who's done better? I'm the king. I'm the king of banks. I am the king of banks. So I said, knock out the oil. It's the source of wealth. It's the primary source of wealth. Knock the hell out of it. They all laughed. They came out the other day and they said, a few weeks ago, and one of the generals was, and he was told by Obama what to say. Because Obama is like our general. Can you believe it? We don't even listen. I honestly believe he's like running the war. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And they say, oh, that wouldn't work. Well, they started bombing the oil right after Paris, right around Paris. And you look at what's going on. So they want to bomb the oil. I said, no. You got to do one more step. You got to bomb the oil, and then you got to keep it. Because to the victor belong the spoils, right? So we spend $2 trillion in Iraq, wounded warriors all over the place. We have soldiers so badly hurt, thousands of lives lost. Iraq, we get nothing, nothing. Iran is now going over to take over Iraq. That'll be a better deal than they just made with the nuclear, where they get $150 billion. And they basically don't even have reporting requirements. I mean, if you think about that deal, think about it. This was made by people, you'd almost say they're evil people, but I don't think they are. I don't think they are. I think they're just people that don't know what the hell they're doing. They definitely didn't read those Art of the Deal books that you have over there. Obama didn't, and Secretary Kerry didn't. But they get $150 billion, 24 days. If we think they're building a nuclear weapon, they have 24 days before we can go in. But the 24 days doesn't start for a long period of time. Think of that. So they probably have forever. Then in some sites, which are the worst, they have the right to self-inspect. Oh yes, we've inspected our site. No, we're not building nuclear there, you dumb son of a bitches. So sad. No, we're not building nuclear there. How about during the deal? Did you ever see where the chief negotiator is calling us stupid? And they go back to Iran and they're celebrating. This is before the deal signed. If I ever left a deal and people outside were saying, what a dope, what a great deal we're making. What? I would never, I just leave. I mean, there's almost no deal. And the funny thing? I think Obama, I kept waiting for him to leave. I think he would have looked so smart if they got up from that table, left, doubled up the sanctions, and then went back and won all the points. I think he would have looked great. I kept waiting for him to do it. He didn't have the proper advisor. He had people that weren't so sharp. Believe me, if he would have left the table. And then here's the other thing that really is so disturbing. We have 4 prisoners, okay? 4 prisoners, we don't get them. And they didn't want to bring up the name, and they didn't want to even talk about it. So we have 4 prisoners. We gave them $150 billion. We gave them everything. We caved on every single point. We don't even get our prisoners back. And now you watch. They will call and they'll say, we are willing to talk now about the prisoners. And we'll give them more. It's always the same. That won't happen with Trump. That I can tell you. That I can tell you. It won't happen with Trump. You are going to be so well represented. And I sort of joke, but it's not joking, but the end part is, I said, we're going to win so much. We're going to win and win and win. We're going to win on trade. We're going to do so great with ISIS. We're going to blow them off the face of the earth. We're going to win so much. We're going to win on health care. We're going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to replace it. There's something so much better and by the way, do you see what's happening to your premiums? They're going through the roof, 35, 45, 55%. And in 17, a report says, this isn't me, this is a report. In 17, it's got to be restructured, it's a disaster. All the wrong people are, meaning the people that aren't paying in, they're all signing in. The numbers are tiny, but the losses are astronomical. So in 17, here's another thing I got to worry about Obamacare now. On top of everything else, I win. Whoever the next president is has to worry about Obama because it implodes of its own weight in 17, okay? So, but I don't care about that because I'm getting rid of it anyway, so what the hell difference is it? But I say, we're going to win so much in so many different ways that you're going to get tired of winning. Then I say, I'm only kidding. We never get tired of winning, right? We win. But I've changed up my speech a lot over the last few weeks. And I now talk about safety, security, the border much more. I de-emphasize China a little bit because I can handle that out of my bucket. That's going to be so easy. Oh. I don't even know if I'll use one of my Wall Street killers. It's too easy. It's like Ford. I tell the story. Has anyone heard the Ford plant? Has anyone heard it? So Ford, I told you before, Ford's building a plant. Doesn't help us. So I'd say to the head of Ford, I'd say, now, just so you understand, if Jeb Bush, if Rubio, if Cruz, if any of these guys, they all have special interest money. So somebody will call them and say, you got to let it happen. Me, self-funding, the only one I'm working for is you folks. I'm the only one. I'm the only one. Nobody's going to control me except you people. Because I don't care. I built this great business. I don't care. It's like, and my business, I couldn't care less. My Ivanka, I'll have the kids, I'll have my executives, they'll run it. I couldn't care less about it. This is the big potato. I love this. It's going to be so much fun. And it's going to be easier than you think. Now, we got to do it fast. We can't go through another 4 years. At a certain point, you're not going to be able to do it anymore. At a certain point, you're not. But I would say to Ford, so they announced $2.5 billion. How many plants are they closing in the United States to do that? They also, Mexico, and I respect Mexico, and I love the Mexican people. I have thousands of Hispanics that work for me. I have tens of thousands of people over the years that have worked for me. I mean, every poll says I'll be the greatest jobs president. By the way, they say the greatest jobs president. In the one that just came out, I lead by massive numbers on the military, on the border, on the economy. The only thing I don't think I do as well on is personality, but I think I have a good personality. Who cares? Who cares? Right? It's like, who cares? I'm actually a nice guy. I love people. But who cares? If it's about the economy. It's about the military. It's about making us great again. We have some nice people. I don't care. We need smart, tough, sharp people because we're being destroyed. We're being destroyed. So it's very much switched up. So it was very interesting because when the tragedy in Paris happened, many of these idiots that are on television, they get paid quite a bit of money. We call them the talking heads. They said, oh, there's been a terrible problem in Paris today. Trump will go down. And I went way up because they say he's the strong one. He's the one that's going to protect us. He's the one that's smart. He's smart. He's the one that's smart. So I go up. You ever notice how many times was I supposed to go down? I won't tell you the events because you might think too much about them, right? But how many events where Trump is going down, this should be the end. A week later, the polls come out. He's up 7 points. What happened? That's happened, about 9 times now, I think, right? I don't know. I'll tell you what has happened. I love this. I love this size room, too. It's like a family chat. It's beautiful. No, it's true. You can't get the same feeling in a stadium. When you're in a stadium and you're talking, you don't get, this is like a family, this is like a fireside chat. I love it. I love it. I love the people. Great people. They're great people. I know you people. I know. I'm the same thing. If I were here, I'd be doing the same thing as you. I really do. I understand the people. But when you look at it, so they've told me and they've told everybody so many times, and they're so devastated. Now, they're devastated because they look so foolish, because they've been saying, well, he won't run. I ran. Well, he won't file Form A. I filed Form A. That's life away. Well, he won't file his financials. File my financials and they're through the roof. Well, he'll only last for a month and then he's just going to have a good time. And then he's going to go away. Do you ever hear that one where I'm doing this because I'm going to have a good time? This is not a great time. I mean, it's 100 degrees up here. I'm sweating like crazy. Got laryngitis. I got everything. And I'm having a great time, right? It's great. But I do have a great time. But they said, how about that one? They said, he's doing this, have a great time. I'm not doing this, have a great time. I'm doing it because we can do something that's so unique. We can do something that's going to be so amazing. We can do something that when you remember this meeting in a couple of years from now, you're going to say that was the start of something great. We're not going to take this nonsense anymore from these totally incompetent politicians that don't know what they're doing. And I see them, and I deal with them. I mean, look, I've dealt with politicians all my life. You know, people said, well, Trump is not political. You know how much? I gave last year $350,000 to the Republican Governors Association. I never even got a thank you letter. They took the money, gave it to all these people. I never even got a thank you. I've dealt with these guys my whole life. I've been on the other side. I was the fair-haired boy. Now, I'm like an interloper. But I love it. I'm having such fun. And the reason I'm having fun is because I know what we can accomplish and what we can do. Okay, so we're running. You've got to get to the caucus. You've got to get there. You've got to get, even if you're not feeling good, if you're feeling horrible, if you had a horrible fight with your wife or your husband, could happen. If you caught your husband cheating the night before, you got to go to the caucus. Right? Right? And vice versa. Got to make it a double. You've got to get there. You've got to get there. You've got to get there because we can't take a chance. We're on the cusp of something that's going to be so great with common sense, with smarts, with love, with dedication, with loving your country. We have a chance. We have a chance to do something so incredible. So I just want to say, if I get in, we're going to do great. Well, I appreciate it. Who said that? Well, I'm trying to be modest. Actually, somebody from CNN asked me today, what do you think your chances? You know, the poll, I think we're 20 points above. We're way up. Is it 20? Yeah, can you believe it? We're 20 points higher than the next guy. Can you believe that? That's a lot. You know, if you think of it, think of this. We had 17. They've gone by the wayside. Okay, a couple of them. A lot of them are going to start to fall out fast now. But when you think of it, if you're at 36%, and then on the bottom issues like security, economy, leadership, I'm much higher than those numbers. But if you have 15 people left, and you have 36% of the vote, and you got 15 people, one guy has to, that's pretty good. I was going to say before, because I think it's sort of, so when I started here, went up, and they kept saying, well, now he's reached his level, 6. Then it went up to 9. Well, a little surprised to see this, but George Will, the guy's a moron. Karl Rove, a moron. He still thinks Romney won the election. No, I'm telling you. He's going around saying, Romney won the election. Romney won the election. This guy's raised hundreds of millions of dollars. He didn't win one race. This is not what we want anymore. We need smart, sharp, quick, cunning. Words cunning. Mexico's beating us because their leaders are more cunning than ours. I don't say smarter, they're more cunning than ours. But you got to get out and vote. And if you don't get out and vote, it's all going to go away. They didn't vote for Romney. He didn't inspire them. I hope I'm going to inspire you, but he didn't inspire. He just didn't inspire, for whatever reason. And he would have been far better than the alternative that got in. But what people don't realize is that if the people that should have voted Republican got up and voted, he would have won. They talk about different groups. You need this group. Believe me, I'm really good at this stuff. If you Because there's plenty of you that are sitting there feeling very guilty right now. Okay, who didn't vote last time? Come on. Oh, come on. I don't believe. You think I believe that? That's hard to. Boy, you people are amazing. Oh, that's right. That's right. You people really are into it. That's right. Chuck told me. How many people back here didn't? Who didn't vote? Huh? I'll tell you, you're pretty good people. I've gone to other places, and the entire place raises its hand. Okay. We got to get, I don't think I have to talk too much to you people about this. That's great. Well, that's the way it should be. You should vote. We got to get out. You got to get to that caucus. You got to get out, and we got to win this thing. And I can promise you this one very strong point. I will put my heart and soul into running this country so well. And that's very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Amazing. 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 I will put my heart and soul. I will work like you've never seen anybody work. You know, if you're in the White House, who wants to take a vacation? You're in the White House. You're going to be there for 4 years, 8 years, maybe 8. Let's do it for 8. We'll make it even better. But you're in the White House. What's better than the White House? Why these vacations? Why, when you take a plane to California, does your wife have to take another plane to California 2 hours later? Couldn't you use one plane? But why? But listen, you're in the White House. There's so much work to be done. You're there for a period of time. You got to work really, really hard. But I promise you this, we're going to work hard. More importantly, we're going to work smart. You know, I know a lot of people, they work hard, but they don't work smart. We're going to work hard. We're going to work smart. I'm going to get the most incredible people you've ever seen to straighten out our problems, including the Veterans Administration, which is a horror show. We are going, it's a disaster. It is, it's a disaster. It's corrupt and it's a disaster, as many of our institutions are. And we are going to bring this country to a level that maybe will be higher than it's ever seen before. We can do it because the people are so amazing. I've gotten to know the people. We are going to do it. And for the folks of Spencer and around, I just want to tell you, you're an amazing group of people. I mean, even the fact when I say who didn't vote, very few people, you vote, because that's what you're supposed to vote. You go to some areas, who didn't vote? The whole room raises their hand. That was amazing, actually. I'm very impressed. But we're going to work hard. We're going to work smart. We're going to make America great again. Thank you very much. I love you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We will make America great again.